Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Clement here, attempting the Microsoft Excel World Championship Battle 8, I believe. I think it was 8. A case by Peter Scharl, an amazing case with a lot of data, or rather cell manipulations to understand directions. So we will navigate a lot with all these little arrow signs that we can see here. This case brings a bit of everything that we've seen in the previous video. So it's a slightly harder case I found. Not that I was able to complete it at all in the 30-minute that we had a couple of weeks ago. But look, I think after a bit of practice, it kind of all comes together and it makes sense. So without further ado, let's start. I'll probably go a bit over the timer here. I'll try to explain what I'm doing in as clearly as possible. And yeah, don't mind me, but it's definitely solvable under the half an hour mark. So let's go. So we're going on a treasure hunt. We need to solve 7 levels. And on this case, a lot of points are allocated to the bonus questions, usually slightly less, 450 points to be made here. So the way it works is we have a treasure map that has coordinates. We have game numbers that are listed on the map, random numbers here. And level 1, level 2 will help us with the mechanics to support the treasure hunt. Level 3 to level 7, we will find answers in the form of arrows that will tell us where to move next depending on where we land. So stay with me. It was absolutely unclear to me what to do at the beginning, but you'll see it kind of makes sense as we go along. So let's start. I'll keep the bonus questions for the end because we need to reach level 3 first. So level 1, what game number is in the provided cell on the treasure map tab? So super interesting function. J10 as an example yields 126, J10 126. So we want to understand what K4 is going to yield, etc. So we will reference this, and to use the reference, there is a very useful function in Excel which is called indirect. And indirect will take this syntax. So forgive my English, I'm not too sure what's the name of the single quote. I think single quote it is. So single quote and another single quote and exclamation mark, and in that sheet we want to return that cell. Simple. Let me turn on the keyboard shortcut. Maybe is it on? Oops. Let me see. How to do the restart. Drag. I'm not sure how that works, to be honest. Typing mode, OSD appearance. This one. Position. Let's see. See? Will that work? No, maybe not. Let me try this one. First time using the software. Now restart. I know you might be screaming on your screen. Come on, go there. OSD appearance. Let's try again. Start in color. Oh, okay. Look, I'll put it in position A then. Appearance, keyboard, okay. Okay, let's see. All right, so I'll just take these elements, copy paste right here. Game number, what game number is in the direction from the provided cell? So we understand that if we start on H7 and we go 1 down, 1 right, which is this arrow, we're gonna land on H7, 1 down, 1 right, 39, 139. So that's the answer we want. So each arrow tells us something. So it tells us what it does in terms of row direction and column direction. So let's try to map it. It goes -1 row, so it goes up 1 row, column no change. This one will go down 1 row, plus 1, column no change, no row change, minus 1 column, no row change, plus 1 column to the right, minus 1 row, minus 1 column, minus 1 row, plus 1 column, plus 1 row, minus 1 column, and this one is down 1 row and right 1 column. So we have our mapping of what each arrow does. We just need to bring it up here. XLOOKUP of this in to use to the VLOOKUP side, and I want to return this. Awesome. So second very useful function, offset. So we want to offset the reference. Reference is our starting cell, so remember that function, indirect single quote and the location and single quote exclamation mark double quote and that cell. So that's our reference, and we want to offset that by this rows, this column. Cool. 139. Now all we got to do is to bring this down and copy across. Great. So level 3, what is the X direction in the provided list? So we need to find the 14th character in that string. An easy way, maybe not the most elegant, but look, it works, is to take the left side of it. We want this number of characters, we return that whole string, and we want to take the right hand side of it and just 1. Level 4, what is the most frequent direction in the provided list? So we need a way to count how many of each arrow sign is in each list. We can't do this as it is because they're not delimited by anything, so we can't just like find the answer without breaking them apart. At least that's my understanding. So what I should have done is the following. So we're just going to create a new sheet here, and we're going to use it for examples, levels 4 to 7. I'm just going to take the entire list because these are all the same questions, or rather variation of the same question. Just going to bring everything here, and again on the date itself we need to like read each question and find the commonalities, but I'll spare you the cold sweat. So just going to make it nice and clean. We can keep the examples. We can remove the points. We can keep this. We don't have to do it, to be honest. I just like it. I just like it this way, personal preference. All right. Cool. So we essentially have an extract of the game number, or rather the level, the strings that are attached to it. So we need a way to break these strings down. So it's going to make it very neat. Bring across the whole list of possibilities and manually, painfully replace each of them with a delimiter, which in this case will be comma. You can use any delimiter you want. So that's the time of the video where you can fast forward if you like, because it's going to be the same time, the same thing. I believe 8 times. Was it 8 arrows? Yeah, 8 times. So for each one, we just find, replace. Look again, maybe a maybe a faster, more elegant way to do it. After digging, trying to understand, couldn't find anything that worked better in this case. Again, if you have your own technique, please feel free to comment. I'd love to see how you guys broke it down. All right, 3 more. That's 2. Cool. And this one. Awesome. So almost halfway through the case. Level 4, what is the most frequent direction in the provided list? So we need to count each arrows for each of the cases. So we need the individual list, which is this one, and we'll need a way to somehow have a matrix of each of these cases, so for 61 to 80. And a good way to approach this, which has been documented in a few videos before, is just to do an index of that. We want to reference a row number that matches the case number. So we want to match this, and I'm going to input a value in there in a minute. In this, we want an exact match. And if I put 61 in here, for example, it returns this 62. Oops, 62. Okay, so it works just fine. That's what we want. Now we want to break it down. So we can use this text split function, and we're going to split it by commas, and that gives us a wonderful matrix that's dynamic. So we want to count what is the most frequent. So if this one equals this one, then 1, otherwise 0. Drag it across. I think it's 30 times, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 30 times. Okay, just going to make some space. So what is the sum for each? What is the max? The max is 7, and what is the answer then? So 7. So we're going to reference the maximum in this column, and we're going to return the arrow because that's the question being asked. Great. So for case 63, it's the down arrow that appears 7 times. So we're not going to do it one by one. We're just going to use all the cases here, and that's the beauty of data tables. We're going to say on top, I want my answer. I'm going to drag it across. I'm going to select everything here. I'm going to say, I'm going to go to what if analysis, data table. I'm going to say, in my column, I want to get this. And look at what happens. It generates the answers for all these cases. Boom. Level 5. Which direction has the largest sum of position in the list? The sum of position. So I'm just going to mark these guys as done. Just going to put them in yellow here. These are done. So let's move on with, say, case 81. So the sum of position, i.e. first direction in the list is worth 1, second direction is worth 2. Okay, so we need an equivalence here of what position is worth what. I want to say if A equals B, then don't give me 1, but give me the position instead. Same thing, we get a max, we get the answer. Now all we got to do is to update this right here. Let's see, and it works. Level 6. Which direction has the largest sum of position in the list? The largest sum of position in the list. Which direction has the largest product of position in the list? So for this one, I'm just going to put this guy's as yellow too. So we need the product this time. If we do a product, if I do a product here, oops, of all this thing, the minute there is a 0, it's going to give you 0, of course. So we need to say, if that's not true, then give me nothing. And with that, we have the product of each. Is that the product? Oh, there you go. It's better. We need the example 6. So we need these cases here. We need to get the answers. Copy paste across. Should be all right. Last one, which direction has the longest consecutive streak in the list? Example, this one has 3 up arrows in a row. So the way I would do it is, if this one equals this one, then 1, otherwise 0, right? But now, if this one equals this one, then I would say whatever is in here plus 1, otherwise 0. And that's how you, that's how at least I started counting the cases here. So let's drag it across. And now we need to find the maximum number that's generated in any of these items. Whoops, that was that. So we find the max, and that returns this. Okay, and that's the last level. Whoops. So 121 onwards. All right, cool. So we're done with the levels. Now we have the bonus question. So what game number is the 10th spot on the treasure hunt? Just gonna make a bit of space here for the bonus questions. So what game number is in the 10th spot on the treasure hunt? So we know from the instructions that the first game is game 41, and game 41 gives us a left and top left arrow. Okay, so we need to understand where that lands. So if we just take this example, 41, that would be 45. Then case 45 gives us another arrow like this. Oops, what is it? So we're gonna land on 93, etc., etc. So there is like a path, and we need to understand what path the game follows. So I'm just gonna bring across all the answers that we got from game this game to the last one. I'm just gonna copy paste everything. Gonna bring all the answers that we got. Cool, and we know. Okay, I'm just gonna make it a bit nicer. So let me remove this. Remove this. Yeah, that's better. Again, not absolutely necessary, but I just like it when it's a bit cleaner. And that's the last game. All right. So we know that that's game number, and we know that the first game, which is game 41, starts on E5. Okay, so that's the starting cell. Then this happens, which means X lookup of this. Remember, in this, and we return this. Then this happens, and then we land on a cell. That cell landing cell value, and then we carry on with the value of the cell. So let's understand where we land after doing that move. So we will do the offset, or landing cell value rather. So landing cell value, offset, we'll need both anyways. So offset indirect of, we said, and let me write treasure hunt later right here. And so this is our reference. Treasure map. Okay. So the landing cell value is 45 minus 1 minus 1. So that's correct. We want to understand what's the address. So we want to find D4. The address of that is there's a very convenient function, I would say, in Excel, which is address. That's the row parameter, which is the row of what we just wrote, and the column of what we just wrote, and gives us D4. What happens when we fall on 45? We need to understand XLOOKUP of this and this. We return what happens. And now we go top left again. So we're not going to do this across a million lines. We're just going to find a way to do it vertically. So now, so this is the first XLOOKUP of my arrows that correspond to this one. But now all the XLOOKUPs here will reference this guy. Okay, so XLOOKUP of this nice. So we land, because we started in D4, we land in C3. The value is 93. Correct, we're there. So it seems that the model is working, and in 93 then this happens. Okay, so let's see if we can drag and drop, not drag and drop, sorry, copy paste across formulas. Whew, okay, it works. So game number 1 is 41. So this will be game after playing, and that start on 2, and that would be +1, and we can just go all the way. The bonus question is, what game number is the 10th spot on the treasure hunt? So what game number is the 10th spot? It's landing cell value 121. On the 25th spot, so we can recycle this model, 136. In what game number is the treasure found? So treasure is found, the treasure is found in the last game number you move prior to repeating a game number on your treasure hunt. So let's see what game number we found. So count ifs in that range, which is just one cell, of that cell. Sounds silly. And if I drag it across, it doesn't move. So I need to make this one fixed, but this one variable. Does it work? Yes. Okay, so now we start to count how many times does the game appear. And it starts to appear twice here. So it means we're doing this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So, and this pattern starts on game 46. Prior, we start to repeat. So 46 would be the answer. What is the sum of all the game numbers used on a treasure hunt? So we found the treasure on game here. So all these plus the first one, 4909, represent the answer, 4909. How many times on the treasure hunt did you move straight down? So how many times did we move straight down? I'm just going to take a straight down arrow anywhere. It's going to count if the whole range until we find the treasure hunt, until we find the treasure. We found this arrow. We should really consider the first one too, but we know the first one is not in there, so we don't really need to count it. And that's 11. And that's for Mark. So just gonna stop the timer here. So definitely solvable. I think the more time we spend on understanding the questions and reading them carefully before starting to do anything, a pattern really emerged on level 4, 5, 6, and 7. And to be honest, I froze, I panicked when I saw it because I couldn't break these strings down when actually it was just a matter of grinding for a minute, replacing with a comma, and start doing the data table technique to get the answer. The questions are actually, we can just recycle that model to answer all level 4 to level 7. So it was a super interesting case. And yeah, I learned a lot with the address and indirect on this case. It was a good reminder that these are fundamentals to understand in Excel. It helps in financial modeling as well, all the time. Use it every day. And yeah, look, if you have any suggestions, any ways to do it faster, maybe a bit more elegant, while keeping the time in check, please do comment on the video. Feel free to share. Let me know if there's anything wrong. And yeah, good luck with battle number 9 coming up this Thursday. And hope to see you soon, and hopefully in the Microsoft Excel World Championship in end of November. So yeah, bye for now.